you how much we appreciate her. And I told her I was going to do this, and she said, no, don't do it. She's shaking her head right now, but she can't stop me. I got the mic, right? so I'll probably come back to something later on, just so you know. Okay, so thank you so much for the invitation. So y'all ready to get started? Has anybody heard of imposter syndrome? Nobody's even heard of it? All right, good. I get to introduce you to something. But before I introduce you to the imposter syndrome, I told you I'm used to people talking to me, so I'm also used to participation. So I need a couple volunteers. Hey. Couple volunteers. Okay, thank you. When I say couple, let's go with like maybe, yeah, that's good number, 5, 6. How about that? So we got 1, you're going to be 2 since you're calling out numbers. We got 3, 4. And we're going to have co-pastor Tanisha come on up here too. And you all just line yourselves up in front of this table. Facing the congregation, please. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, this is great. So, we are going to tell a story. We are going to tell a story about, it's called a pressure bottle story. Sometimes I used to call it a Coke bottle story, but I didn't have Coke. So we've got a Pepsi bottle story. Either way, we can build up some pressure with this, right? So we're going to talk about, each one of you will give a line to the story, okay, about a day in the life of a woman. So, now the last time, see, I know y'all aren't going to be like this because I know y'all have the spirit of HT lady on you. And so I need you to be real in this story, okay? The last time I did this story at a church, I declare it was so holy. And even when it was something bad going on, it was like, oh, but I got up and spoke in tongues, and then manna from heaven fell. And you know what? Sometimes you just bump your toe or you do something and it hurts, okay? So I want you to give a line to the story. I'm going to start the story and I'll end the story. But I want each one of you to give a line to the story. You can make up a line, or it can be something that might actually have happened in the course of this quote-unquote day that we're going to go through. The other caveat, in between each line of the story, the pressure has to build, right? So we got to shake the bottle. Okay? We got to shake the bottle. So, let me start the story. I woke up this morning late, and I went to go take a shower, and there was no hot water. I had to literally take a cold shower. Running late this morning for work, I got to work, and then I had someone call in. So I had to cover them and do my managerial job. Getting to work and having to deal with ignorant customers every day, all day, and ignorant people. I was called into a meeting from people that do not respect who I am as a woman, do not understand my history of being at UNC all these many years, and belittle me sometimes and expect me to deal with it. At the end of the day, finally I go home, and after a stressful day, I want to relax When I got inside, I noticed that my flowers were dying because I forgot all this stress that I needed to plant them. So what I did is, I came out with the soil, the door locked, and my keys were inside, and the car was locked. The garage door was locked, and I just moved to that house, so I don't know my neighbor. Now, I didn't have on my phone for every single number because now my mind doesn't work because I worry about so many other things, but phone numbers. And I don't remember Janet's phone number. I don't remember anybody's phone number. So I go to a neighbor's and I said, what am I going to do? So this is what happened next. We called the rescue squad. And they came. But state employees messed up today so that my money didn't come in my account. So I can't pay them. And that's enough. Ooh, it's been a long day and it's Thursday. It's the last day at work, but I gotta go to Bible study. And my husband's gonna be ministering and he's ready to talk tonight. And I'm passing by this road called Pisca Church when I'm leaving the office and I want a piece of cake so bad. And I know we got Bible study, we got another service on Saturday morning, we got 2 services on Sunday, and I need some chocolate, but I've been trying to work out all week long. And I actually went to the gym on Thursday morning, but you know I'm going to make that turn to be a few minutes late for Bible study. I got to have this cake because it's been a long day. And after we get to the Bible study at night, because we're going to stay at about 10 or 11, I'm going to go home at 11 o'clock, put my feet up, and eat that cake. Oh my. I didn't know the day was going to be this bad. Yeah, y'all didn't act like the other church. Y'all had a real day. So finally, we got the Bible study, and we had the cake too. How about that? Blowing the diet, but I had the cake. Okay, so first, let's give our storytellers a round of applause. And you all can go ahead and take your seats. But you all, wasn't this a day? This was a day and a half. This was more than a day and a half. And now remember, that's right, it was the pressure. Anybody thirsty? Nobody's thirsty? Why isn't anybody thirsty? Why wouldn't we want to open this bottle right now? Too much pressure. It would explode all over our fine frocks, right? It would explode. And so, you know, if I opened this right here, it would get on me, it would get on the floor, it'd get on the pew, it'd get on Andrea, and then Andrea would get up and try to get out of the way, and then there might be other issues. It would be disastrous, right? All because of the pressure. So, let's say though, if we really, really, really wanted to open this soda bottle, how could we get it open without messing up our fine frocks? Okay, slowly. We could slowly release the pressure. So I might start to twist, and then I would see this, I'd see it start rising up, right? And then what would I do? Close it back real quick. And then I might do it again. open it really slow, and then I'd see it rise up. I'm gonna close it back real fast again. If I did that, another 4, 5, 12, I don't know, however many times, I could finally take the top all the way off and leave it off without it spewing out, right? Why? Now talk to me. Why would I finally be able to do that? Because the pressure had calmed down. The pressure had been released at this point. The pressure had been released. Now, if I would have stopped in between each person shaking the bottle and twisted, I could have, I still would have had to kind of do it slowly, but I would have been able to release the pressure all along, right? Is that what we need to do throughout our day? If we would just, because at the end of the day, this is us. And then you come home and you're fussing at the kids and your husband looking at you like, why are you looking like that? And then you kick the dog by mistake, don't even apologize to little Poochie. And all because the pressure. You gotta check yourself before you wreck it, right? This is a lot of pressure. If we were to release the pressure all along the way, we might be okay at the end of the day. Even though life happens. Life happens. You're going to have that meeting where somebody's looking at you like you don't know what you're doing, and you know what you're doing. That's life. But I need to already, because it's kind of like the weather forecast. If the weatherman tells me it's going to rain and I walk outside without my umbrella, that's not the weatherman's fault that I got wet. So we know folk are going to act a little, what'd you say, ignorant? We know folk are going to act a little ignorant sometimes. So it's on us to have an insurance plan ready to go. If you drive your car with no insurance and you get into a car accident, that's not the other person's issue. That's your issue, because we should carry insurance, right? Hopefully we never have to use it, but we should carry it in case. We know that pressure happens. We know life happens. We have to have some insurance policies in place, okay, so that we don't have this explosion. Because when the explosions happen, it gets all over everything and everybody, and it makes a big old mess. And who looks bad? You repping Jesus real good then, right? That's when folks saying, I'm Christian. You notice what they're saying. So, yep, that's why I don't even go to church. The fake Christians. So, we got to prepare. Sometimes the pressure comes because we're not comfortable in who we are. So, life happens because that's what life does. But then we're all of a sudden feeling like, well, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, all because we're not feeling at our best. We haven't done what we were supposed to do sometimes. Okay, let's keep going. I'm talking to the lights, not y'all. This would never happen to y'all, right? So, now after this bad day, sir, after this bad day, you come to Bible study and what do you say? I'm fine. Hey, how you doing? I'm fine. I'm blessed and highly favored. Hallelujah. That's what we say. But all is well. All is well. I do it every morning. Hey, HT, how you doing? All is well. But that's what we do. Now really, let's go to the next one, sir. Can you read that fine? So we're saying I'm fine, but what's in the fine print? depressed. I'm in pain. I'm terrified. I'm fighting. I'm broken. That's us. Us Christian folk. That's us.
Y'all Christian folk.
And we come in here, we come in the church house saying I'm fine. So if we come in the church house saying I'm fine, if we have not given ourselves permission to go to therapy, you don't want to talk to sister so-and-so, brother so-and-so, because you know what they're going to do. They're going to tell all your business. You don't want to do any of that. So what are you going to do? That's where this happens, and then all of a sudden somebody's like, what's wrong with her? Everybody in here, I don't care how much Jesus you have, you're still only human. Right? You're only human. So at some point, this is going to burst. At some point, it's going to come out. Now, you know how it comes out? It comes out because you're a little snappier than usual. It comes out when you've slept and slept and slept, and you slept 12, 13, 15 hours, and you wake up tired. It comes out when you get angry when somebody says hi instead of hello, and you're looking at them funny. It comes out in those random aches and pains, like, oh, that's my back hurting, or why is my pinky toe hurting, or I got another headache. Digestive issues, reflux, GERD, back issues. This tightness up in here, that's because you walking around all tense, with that little scowl on your face, quoting scriptures that work, yeah, somebody gonna come to Jesus that way. So we got to check this. We got to check what's going on with us, because sometimes, we're trying. A lot of times we're trying to be good representations of Christ, and we're trying to be, a good version of us, but there are times that you need to kind of slow down and do something different, and you're not doing it. You're not doing it, and it starts coming out because you're stressed, you're broken, you're feeling hopeless, you're all of that kind of stuff, right? Okay. So that's where we start keeping secrets. We keep secrets. Now, there's this website. I admonish you to go there from time to time. On Sundays, they change they update their website, postsecret.com. It's a website where people send in secrets. Have you all heard of it? Some of you may have heard. I'm telling you, y'all gotta go there. Every week, and then they have Facebook, and they also have an Instagram. It's just at Post Secret. And people send in their secrets. It gets like deep sometimes with these secrets they send in. Other times they're just funny. They're like, that's what I do too. It can be any type of secret. Any type of secret. People will be really creative, and they send them into the postmaster, the webmaster, and the webmaster, he gets millions of these secrets. He's gotten so many secrets that you can go to Barnes & Noble, and there are Post Secret books now, because he can only post so many. Even on the website and the Instagram and the Facebook, he can only post so many. But the books, I think there may be like 5 volumes of the book now, and the book, might be like this thick. Every single page in the book has like 3 or 4 secrets on it. So when I say secrets. So we're going to look at a few secrets, y'all. They're tame, don't worry. But they're real. Okay, this one says the scripture says you can pray for anything, and if you have faith, you will receive it. That's Matthew 21:22. But the secret says, I'm an ordained minister, and most days I think this is, can I say that word in here? Most days I think this is crap. That's what the ordained minister says, y'all. It's real though. Because sometimes do we struggle in our faith? Okay. Next secret, sir. The only time I feel anything is when I'm stoned or at church. Y'all laughing, but you might be sitting beside the person who wrote this. Because, you know, stuff comes out in the therapy office. We hear about the folk who are, you know, smoking and doing other stuff, and then they're deacon so-and-so on Sunday, or minister so-and-so on Sunday. It's not uncommon. By the way, so when you go to therapy, don't think that I can't tell my therapist this, or I can't say that, because they've never heard this before. I promise you, I'm waiting for somebody to surprise me. I'm waiting. You can come in and tell me anything. And definitely at this point, our practice opened in 2008. And so in August, it'll be 10 years. That ain't nothing but the Holy Ghost, okay? Because I never in 10 million years thought that I would be an entrepreneur. So, yes, so in that almost 10 years' time, I have heard a lot. And even in her just about a year's time, I know she's heard a lot. So, you know, when you go into your therapist, because hopefully this is going to free somebody up today so that you can say, all right, yes, I can finally go to therapy. You know, don't go in there and not tell the truth, because you're only hurting yourself at that point, okay? All right, so let's look at another secret. After we separated, I wore this on my right hand as a reminder to never again settle for less than I deserve. And over there, I don't know if you can tell, that's a wedding band that's been taped to the card there. So that actually got sent in. That wedding band got sent in. So do Christians sometimes have marriages that have issues? So evidently this one did. Well, we don't know if this person was Christian or not, but this relationship, she got into it and she was settling. Do women ever get married just because, oh, I'm getting older and I'm supposed to be married by now, and the other people are looking at me like, when are you going to get married? Or they're asking questions like, you do like guys, don't you? Aren't they asking, I mean, doesn't that happen? That happens. So sometimes people just marry because they're supposed to. And then a year later, or a month later, however long it takes, there's some issues. Okay, one more. As a child, I wrote love letters to my parents and signed them, love the opposite parent. I thought it would stop them from fighting. It didn't. Yeah, that one kind of hurts a little bit. So, man, I can only imagine, you know, I don't know if this person was male or female who did this particular secret. I don't know if they're still a child or if they're long grown now. You know, I don't know anything more than what's up here. But I sure can see some issues coming from this. I can see them maybe not fighting, maybe not articulating whatever's on their mind because they don't want to start a fight. I can see them, you know, consistently or constantly checking on their child. You okay? You okay? Mommy and Daddy are okay. Are you okay? So much so that the child is like, can you just leave me alone? I'm good, okay? And then now that child doesn't even want to come around the parent anymore because they're on them so much, right? So I can see a whole bunch of issues coming from this, but could that impact a relationship in the future? Could that impact that child? That has just so many implications to it. So, y'all, we have secrets. And sometimes these secrets start to craft who we are as human beings. It crafts the adult that we're going to grow into. Sometimes it helps us. Sometimes it cripples us. It oftentimes will start to build that imposter. Because I can see this person getting into a relationship and staying in a really bad relationship just so that the relationship can stay together. I can see that happening. So, y'all, we have secrets. Y'all have secrets. Let me rephrase. We have secrets, because I'm not just putting it on y'all. It's human beings. We have secrets. Okay? So that doesn't mean, this does not mean go out and tell everybody your secrets. But you do have to work through them. You do have to work through them. Okay, so let's look at this imposter syndrome. Because these secrets start to create the imposter syndrome. Do the first bullet for me. So what is imposter syndrome? It's a collection of feelings of inadequacy that persist despite evident success. Imposters suffer from chronic self-doubt and a sense of intellectual fraudulence that override any feelings of success or external proof of success. Now that came from the Harvard Business Review. So imposter syndrome, it's not literally a diagnosis, but it's a real thing. You know, people walk around and this is them. Can you all see how this might be them? Not y'all, but them. Can you? Remember, y'all talk back to me. I need you to talk to me. So we say we're fine, but we're actually hurting. We're actually feeling like fakes. Many of us. You know how, especially as women, we get compared to other women. She's prettier. Her hair looks better. She's got more education. Her man looks better. She's had more men than me. Oh, I've had too many men. Oh, I had a baby. All my babies got different daddies. Don't we start this? So we feel like fakes sometimes. Despite evident success. So, let's keep going. Common thoughts associated with the imposter syndrome. Go ahead, one more. So, one thought is, I must not fail. Like, I can't fail. I can't fail. If I fail, that, you know, they're really going to find out that I'm not who they think I am. So, I just got to keep going. Let's do the next one. I feel like a fake. So those thoughts of giving the impression, their thoughts of giving the impression that they are more competent than they are, and they have deep feelings that they lack knowledge or expertise. Often they believe they don't deserve the position or they don't deserve the promotion, and they're anxious that somebody, you know, if they do get the position, it's only because somebody made a mistake. I wasn't really supposed to get that one. Now that's not every imposter, but that's some imposters right there. Okay, let's keep going. It all comes down to luck. Now, you know, a lot of times as Christians, we don't like to use that word, luck. Even though we think that in our heads. You know, we just don't actually say that word. It's because we're attributing whatever happened to them. You know, well, they just gave it to me. Or anything that happens good in my life, it's not because I actually might be talented or worked hard or anything like that. It's just, it just happened. Okay, we've got one more common thought. Success, that's no big deal. Doesn't everybody do that? Yeah, everybody. We downplay our success. We put ourselves on sale. We discount it. I ain't the sale chick, okay? So, no, and y'all aren't either. Our success is a big deal. We can appreciate our success without being arrogant. But that's not always the message we get. Sometimes the message we get and the message that we take in and then we put that out of our own mouths is that, it's, okay, y'all have seen that, right? Mm-hmm. So, let's see, did I miss one? No, don't move. Okay, yeah. So, all of these things contribute to our poor mental health. We get really anxious because of these things, or we get really depressed because of these things. I call anxiety and depression the common colds of mental health. Anybody in here ever had a cold? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you've probably had some level of anxiety or some level of depression too, at some point in your lives. Ooh, y'all looking at me like, did you just call me crazy? No, I didn't just call you crazy, but I did say you probably have had a mental health issue in your life. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that because it happens. Mental health issues are health issues. We are health professionals. That's why your insurance covers this. So if you're, especially those of you all who are working jobs, working hard, and you have insurance, there is no reason that you do not have your therapist because you already have, you're just giving the money away. And you know those premiums aren't cheap. So, really quickly, I had a couple of stats that were surprising. Christianity Today says that 1 in 4 members in our congregations suffer from a diagnosable mental disorder in a given year. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. One of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 in 4. 1 in 4. That's a small number. And we didn't say 1 in 100. We didn't say 1 in 100. 4, that's a small number. How many sets of 4 are in this congregation? I really would say that it's more than 1 in 4. That's probably 1 in 4 that have actually, come out and said something. Mental health issues are definitely, it's all about our minds. The most basic mental health issue is stress. Has anybody in here ever been stressed? Congratulations! You haven't been... Put both of them up. That's right. That's right. Congratulations. You've had a mental health issue if you've been stressed. Okay? Because that's the most basic. That's the most basic of the mental health issues. So, y'all know how we get so holy sometimes. And we just act like we're all good and we're not. A couple of scriptures for you. Ephesians 6 and 12. I know y'all know that one. We are wrestling with what? Or we're not wrestling against what? We're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against and against. So it's not my sister, even though, yes, she walks in and she might have a twisted look on her face. That's not thinking. Cognitive thinking. Cognitive equals thinking. Behavior, I think y'all got that one, theory. All right? Is the same thing as, for as a man thinketh. Remember I was saying we don't need to war against each other, the worlds of faith and the professionals. We say the same thing sometimes. So, we've got to work together. Okay, so, imposter syndrome and Moses. Now, you know, you can ask a saint or an ain't. Tell me something. Tell me somebody in the Bible. And they're probably going to say, outside of Jesus, Moses. I mean, he's like the one that people know, right? And Moses had imposter syndrome. Y'all don't believe me? Let me tell you. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit, all right? Or I might even call on one of y'all to read. Then, so this is Exodus 3, 7 through 10. Then the Lord said, I have seen how cruelly my people are being treated in Egypt. I have heard them cry out to be rescued from their slave drivers. I know all about their sufferings. And so I have come down to rescue them from the Egyptians. I have indeed heard the cry of my people, and I see how the Egyptians are oppressing them. Now, I am sending you to the king of Egypt so that you can lead my people out of his country. So this is God talking to Moses. And what does Moses say? But Moses said to God, I ain't nobody. How can I go to the king and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Here's God again in all his wisdom. I got you. That's what God said. I will be with you. And when you bring the people out of Egypt, you're going to worship me on this mountain. That's going to be proof. That's going to be proof that I have sent you. Here comes Moses again, y'all. But Moses replied, when I go, Lord, what am I going to say to the people? I can just see God right now like, little boy, didn't I just tell you? The God of your ancestors sent me to you. That's what God's going to say. The God of your ancestors sent me to you. They will ask me, what is his name? So what can I tell them? This is when God is like, dude, I just am, man. I am who I am. You must tell them. The one who is called I am. Just I am. I am sent me to you. Tell the Israelites that I, the Lord, the God of their ancestors, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, have sent you. This is my name forever. This is what all future generations are to call me. Go and gather the leaders of Israel together and tell them that I, the Lord, the God of their ancestors, has appeared to you. So basically, God is just like, just tell them. Tell them who I am. Tell them I sent you. They know me. Tell them. And do I have one more, sir? I decided that I will bring them out of, my people will listen to what you have to say to me. Do I have one more after that? Yeah, that's what I want to get to. Here comes Moses again, y'all. So God has said all that. I'm the God of everybody on the planet, basically. And Moses comes back with, but suppose the Israelites don't believe me and will not listen to what I say. And God is just like, come on, man. I've told you. I have told you. So then, after this is when God has to start doing the miracles for him. You know, the stick turns into the snake, and then, he was already speaking to him through a what? Burning bush. You got a bush, a flaming bush with a voice coming out of it? And you still got questions? Is he feeling like an imposter? He absolutely is feeling like an imposter. So much so that eventually God is like, okay, you know what, fine. Go get Aaron. Where's Aaron? And so, he pulls in Aaron into the process so that Moses isn't feeling quite so down about himself in doing this. So that's a whole lot of stuff that God had to go through just to help Moses, and Moses still didn't take it in. Moses felt like an imposter. So can we go back to, that imposter syndrome? Let's look at it again. What is imposter syndrome? A collection of feelings of inadequacy that persist despite what kind of success? Evident success. Imposters suffer from chronic self-doubt, a sense of intellectual fraudulence. Because later on in there, you know how Moses was talking about how he couldn't talk, right? Because Moses stuttered. And yeah, he did stutter, but God was like, hey, I'm here for you. I got you. And, okay, so sense of intellectual fraudulence that override any feelings of success or external. Remember, there was proof. The word proof was in the scripture. God said, I'm your proof. And Moses was still tripping. So this imposter syndrome was like, man, it's the real deal. It's not fluff. It's not, oh, well, just trust God. Because you know how we do. You know how we do. People are having their issues, and we will say, well, you just gotta use your faith. You do have to use your faith. And you might need some support in that. So, so when that brings on another area of the imposter syndrome, I'm not a good enough Christian. That's another reason why people don't come to therapy. They think if I come to therapy, that proves it. I'm not a good Christian. Right. So, y'all don't believe that though, right? Okay. Let me ask again. Y'all don't believe that though, right? Okay, thank you. I'm just checking because you were a little soft on that one. And I think it's the strong people who are actually coming into therapy because it is more than a notion to walk through those doors because of the stigma that's out there. But it doesn't say anything bad about your faith, because how did we get our training? We went to school, but who allowed us to get the money to pay for those expensive schools? So God allowed us to have this training. He didn't allow us to get the training just to sit and twiddle our thumbs. We need somebody to work with. He knew the issues were out there. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. So let's see. Mental health issues in the Bible. Y'all got any questions or anything, or comments? Or, y'all might be quiet. I mean, you kind of, give me a little bit, but y'all have any questions? I mean, they're good. Well, y'all will make somebody feel great, don't you? But I really don't mind if you don't understand something I said. I am nothing if not practical. So, if you have a question or you don't know something I said, please stop me. Okay, so let's go to some. Okay. We'll do one of those. Okay, we'll do that. So this is just another instance of just how practical the Bible is and how our everyday issues are just right there in the Bible for us too. I wanted to bring in some stories about women in the Bible and how they had their own mental health stuff going on, because sometimes people think that mental health stuff isn't real. And so for a lot of people like us, people of faith, if you can show it to us in the Bible, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense now. So, and so I get that because I'm one of those people too sometimes. So let's look at this particular story in 1 Samuel. Somebody want to read 4 for me? Thank you. Okay. 5. Somebody. Is that ever an issue for us? Keep going. Keep going, ma'am. And then last one. Yep, I heard it. Depression. Definitely depression. No, go back. There should be a. Did you take the last part out of there? That line. Okay, it's going further. What are you telling me? Keep going to the next slide. Okay. Okay, keep going to the next slide then. Okay, there we go. Yes. So, what are the mental health issues that she had? Depression, anxiety, eating disorder? Eating disorder, yes. Because if somebody comes in and they're telling me they're not eating, I'm a little concerned. So, we might suffer it on the other side of it, though. Because with depression, you could have, one of your symptoms could be that you're not eating, but the opposite could be true too. You're eating everything in sight. You stopping by Delicious, getting some cake. You stopping by, getting your food. And look, we're not even hungry. We're just eating. We're just eating, eating, eating. So yeah, sometimes that's us too. So I know those cakes at Delicious are pretty good. So let's look at some of the other warning signs. So yes, sir. Some warning signs are eating or sleeping too much or too little. So it doesn't mean if you always ate a lot or you always were a small eater. We're looking for the change in behavior. So when you've been one way and then you either go here or there. Also, pulling away from people or usual activities. Having unexplained aches and pains. Remember I was mentioning those headaches or digestive issues sometimes. This is the one that really makes our ears perk up. Feeling helpless or hopeless. Then I'm really asking some questions. What do you mean you're feeling helpless? Tell me more about that. Smoking, drinking, or using drugs, street or over the counter. Now, a lot of times, there are people of faith who, are using street drugs. A lot of times not publicly, but that does happen. But more often, we're abusing over-the-counter drugs. We're like, we just need a little something to help us go to sleep. So we're not sick, but we popped some NyQuil or Benadryl. If you are taking Benadryl or NyQuil and you're not if you're not sick and you're taking those, you're abusing that drug. That's an abuse of that drug. When you use a drug for a reason other than what it was created for, you're abusing that drug. So that doesn't mean you're a substance abuser and we want to put you in a rehab program, but it does mean, why are you taking these drugs to sleep on a regular basis? Or maybe it's not on a regular basis. Maybe it's, I took it this week, and maybe 3 weeks later. Then the next week I remembered, oh, you know what? I took that Benadryl and it worked, so I'm taking it. Now it's not the next week anymore. Now it's the next day. So you just slowly start to increase. Okay? So when your bad day, remember our bad day up here? It starts negatively impacting us. And we know that it's negatively impacting us when we start doing small things like this. We have these small changes in our behaviors. Okay? Let's look at a couple of myths and facts about mental health issues. Keep going. So, hopefully we've addressed this one already. If I go to counseling, I must be weak in my faith or crazy one. That's a myth, right? Seeing a counselor doesn't mean that you have a weak faith, or it doesn't mean that you're crazy. It means that you recognize there's an issue and you went to get help. Because nobody says that about their diabetes. Nobody says that when they've had a digestive issue too long. They're like, oh, let me go get this checked out. Same thing. I went to school just as long as they did, I promise you. It was a long time. And the issues are real. They're just human issues. Okay, let's keep going. Counseling is for blank people. Fill in the blank, because everybody has something to put in that blank. It's for this color, it's for that color. It's for this gender, it's for that gender. It's for those people who came up on that side of the tracks. Or it's from those people who are from over there. You know, we have something to fill in that blank with, right? But it's not for them, it's for us. People who receive counseling come from all races, both genders, all ages, all geographic locations, and all what? Faiths. All faiths. All faiths. We have Christians to atheists and agnostic who will walk through our doors. Okay? Let's keep going. 1 in 5 adults will be affected by a mental health issue each year. So that earlier stat that I put up there, that was specifically within the church. This is just Americans in general. Let's keep going. 60%, nearly 60% of adults with a mental health issue did not receive mental health services. Now, can you imagine, what if instead of mental illness, what if that said flu? There would be an epidemic. We would all be struggling. Things would be floating around. People would be dying. Oh, wait a minute. Has that happened? People are dying because they're not getting the help. Keep going. Now this one is one. 70% of youth in state and local juvenile justice systems have mental illness. So now, a lot of times I don't even like to use that phrase, mental illness. I prefer to say sometimes mental health disorder or emotional wellness, something like that, because mental illness, people think of a straitjacket and somebody bouncing their head up against a padded wall. Now, while that can be a mental health issue, that's not the average mental health issue. And so these kids that this stat is talking about, remember that secret where the child was writing a letter and signing the parent's name? I could possibly see that being this child. I could see that child growing up to be a pleaser. Then connecting to the wrong person who says, oh, well, do this for me, do that. And then they end up in the system. Anxious and depressed. We got to address this stuff, y'all. We've got to address it before it takes us out. Okay. This is a big one too, y'all. Things that happened a long time ago are just used as excuses for people who won't let it go or get over it. that just makes me want to. The fact is that trauma, big T trauma or little t trauma, which I'll explain in just a second, has the capability to change the direction of anything that comes after it. So if the trauma occurs at 4, then yes, you might be 44 and still have that issue. So let's keep going so that we can demonstrate that a little bit more. All right, so this is a trauma tree. Imagine, well, you see the tree up there. You see that this tree has roots. You see the ground line, and underneath the ground line there are roots. Then at the ground line you have, yes, thank you. He's so helpful, isn't he? Thank you. Just above where the roots meet the ground, that's where you start seeing the tree come out. Then you've got the trunk, and the tree starts to grow and just proliferate, right, with all the leaves and foliage. So compare this tree to the lifespan of a human being. So I don't have it on here, but the roots, that's when we're in utero, okay? Then where the tree starts to come out of the ground, that's birth. The trunk of the tree is infancy and toddlerhood. Childhood are those lower branches. Teenagers, just a bit above that. And even beyond that, I don't have it on there, that would be adulthood, young adulthood into adulthood, all right? So now imagine if lightning were to strike the tree right as it budded out of the ground. It struck the tree, but it didn't kill the tree, okay? That tree is not going to grow the same way as it would had it never been struck by lightning. Have you ever seen trees driving down the street, and you'll see the tree is green and doing its tree thing, except one branch and it's brown. Have y'all seen that? The foliage is all wilted, and it's like, ooh, what happened to that tree? Something happened to that tree. The tree is not going to grow the same way after it is hit. Okay? Let's transfer that over to human beings. The abuse that occurs at 4, at 10 months old, the abuse that even occurs in utero. Can we be abused before we're even born? You can. Absolutely. You can be abused before you're born. Whether that means mom was taking something, or mom was beaten, or it was just a stressful environment. We're very, very sensitive creatures when we are super young like that. We're very vulnerable. So the music can just be really louder. You can have parents or families who like to debate, and to the baby, it just sounds like, wah! Stresses the baby out, right? That's why babies need their own little routines, their own little stuff, okay? So the younger we are, the fewer resources we have to deal with the trauma. So something happens when you're 4 years old, and then that same thing happens, or to another person, let's say the same thing might happen at 24 years old. Let's say it's sexual abuse, because that can occur even that young. We work with people who've had that occur even that young. The 24-year-old who has sexual abuse happen, and then the 4-year-old who has had some sexual abuse happen, it's bad for either age. It's terrible, honestly, for either age. However, the 24-year-old already knows that, okay, I could call the police if I choose to. I could talk to a friend, or I could go to therapy, or I can scream maybe if I want to while it's happening. The 4-year-old might not know that. There's a different type of brain development that has occurred. A 24-year-old probably has full brain development. And so another side note, our brains aren't fully grown until maybe around that age, early mid-20s, okay? So it can be difficult to handle stuff especially when it happens when you're really little, but even stuff that happens when you're a teen. You might not know the right thing to do. You actually might do the totally wrong thing thinking you were doing something okay. Okay? So, do we ever get impacted by this stuff from back in the day? If you would do the last slide for me, and then I'll be out y'all's hair.
I'm coming.
Oh, you're coming? That's what you said? Okay, I'm going to do a song and dance. Oh, no, okay, sorry. Go back to the other tree, Okay, so I know you all can't see everything at the bottom of this. This is a trauma tree as well, but it's a slightly different one. So the roots of this tree have certain things that might happen. What if we have assault? Oh, thank you, sir. What if we have assault? What if we have roots of rape? What if we have roots of war? Are we growing up in a time that has some confusing stuff going on? So that is going to then impact what comes next. You see what's next on this tree? People are coming, because of the political climate these days, people are coming into the office stressed about some of the political stuff that's going on. And it's impacting their mental health. So I just wanted to show that really quickly so that you could just see a different type of trauma tree there. So now if you could go to that one that you were at before. So what do? How do we get rid of this imposter? We have to take care of us, the whole person. We are not only Christians, we still have to eat, right? Right? So if you went out of here, you were reading your Bible and you were praying, you were doing everything that you were supposed to do as a Christian, but you never ate literal food, you would have an issue, right? So we've got to take care of our whole selves, bio, psycho, social, spiritual. This is a model that is used I was surprised. I interned at Code Behavioral Health when I was in my master's program, and this was a model I learned there. So I was kind of surprised they had the spiritual piece. So we want to take care of ourselves in each one of these areas. Biological. Sometimes I can remember it used, even sometimes now, I'll look up and it's 2 o'clock and I haven't used the bathroom. That's not good. You have to take care of yourself biologically. You have to sleep. Not sleeping is a really quick way to start seeing little green men that don't exist. And I mean, it's kind of funny, but I'm serious. You can get there in just a couple of days. You can hallucinate in just a couple of days without sleep. We cannot go without sleep. There's research out there that compares a sleepy brain to a drunk brain. So sleep is really important to us. While we're out here trying to make every meeting and do everything that we're, cook and do the meetings and be there for everybody else, you do need to sleep. And there is no sin in that. Okay, psycho. How are you taking care of yourself psychologically? You need to think about what you're thinking about, because you can't believe everything that you think. Just because it pops up in your head does not mean that it gets to stay there. And some people will say to me, well, it's just, I keep thinking about, this or that, and I can't stop. But whose mind is it? If you can't control your mind, who can? Now, I'm not saying we might not need help with it, because we probably do need help with figuring out how do I stop certain thoughts from coming in. We have to tell ourselves what to think about. An example that I always use, you have to tell yourself what to think about, not what not to think about. So if I'm trying to eat healthfully, I don't need to tell myself, don't think about delicious, don't think about delicious. Because what just popped up in your head? Delicious, right? But what I need to say is, okay, drink my water, eat the fruit, eat the vegetables, tell myself what to think about. Okay, so that's a pro tip right there. So, social. We need to connect with people. If we don't connect with people, even if you're an introvert, I'm an introvert. My husband back there, he's the extrovert of the group, and these people will tell you that. He is absolutely the extrovert. I'll pull my extrovert out, but she goes up real quick, and I got to go somewhere and sit down and just have quiet. But even if you are an introvert, you do have to connect with people. Have you ever heard of, Google this if you haven't heard of it, the babies in the Romanian orphanages? Has anybody ever heard of them? And some people have. I figured you had. If you haven't heard of them, you need to Google them, because these babies, they're in the orphanage. The orphanage had lots and lots of kids in them, not enough parents. Well, because orphanage, right? The babies had enough caretakers to be cared for, meaning they were fed, they were changed, they had all of their basic needs cared for. But there were longitudinal studies done, meaning long-time studies, years and years and years of studies done on these babies, and they did not fare as well as other babies who had people to just touch them and say, oh, you're so cute, and do that skin time. You hear about skin time with babies, and the only difference was that they didn't get the warm and fuzzy. They had all the other basics taken care of. And these babies, they had more legal problems. Some of them had just a flat-out failure to thrive. Others had cognitive issues. It just depended on the child. But the only difference between these groups was the warm and fuzzy. We are built to connect with people. When we don't connect with people, we have issues. Okay? Last piece, spiritual. So that's not an issue with y'all, right? Because we're sitting here in a church. But sometimes it might be an issue with us, maybe. Because, we kind of like, I was like, man, I didn't do my devotional today. I feel like such an imposter. I haven't prayed in a long time. And so I'm bad. God's probably mad at me. So, no. Remember what was the song we just sang? That they just sang? He knows your name, and he knew that when he went to the cross, so he knew you were going to have some issues waking up and doing your devotional, right? He already knew that. And he still got up on the cross. Can you believe that? He still did that. So we just have to keep checking in with our faith, okay? And when you feel weak in it, connect with somebody. These things are like a four-legged chair. You see the chair in the white box up there? If there was a leg that was not on that chair, you would sit in that chair and fall right over, right? So, same thing. If you don't have one of those areas taken care of, you're about to fall over. So you have to take care of yourself in each of those areas. Hopefully, I was trying to speed through those last couple of slides there because there was just good stuff in it. Hopefully, I've given you all some info that hopefully you didn't know and maybe learned something. And then hopefully it was something practical that you could carry with you tonight, tomorrow. Because this isn't stuff for you to do just in the future. This is like, let's apply this right now. Like, not right now, but like right now. Okay? That's all I got for you today. Or tonight. So, thank you again. Wow. That is some good stuff. Wow. Amen. Let's give God a hand praise. I had heard the last slide that she had shown, and that's when I got reviewed. And I told her that she had shared about taking self-care in that chair. Y'all ladies saw that chair. I was missing a leg. You would say you were missing a couple of them. But I was missing a leg. And I had to repent because this year. And I was off balance. She said, oh God, she does all that in church, she does this and that. But I had to repent. And I got really rebuked. I had to do a self-reflection in the mirror. And something was really off. Because it was affecting other people. And like she was saying, you just keep doing and doing. I'm fine. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. But something was off balance. And I had heard it before, but like I said, I've gotten rebuked over the years with that lady back there in that hat. And she kept telling me it was a long journey. Amen. And you got to take care of yourself and be able to help others. But you got to look in the mirror and face the fact. The demon was in me. I was the problem. That's why I said, I said, you didn't know. It was just another confirmation. I feel like I got to change quickly. There's some things that's going on. So I'm asking all the ladies to stand. And I'm going to ask Mr. King if he would come down and we're going to pray. You come down. Shaking their head, yeah, we feel the worst of it. So y'all, we just Dr. Funderburk, you can come through and Dr. would you like to have words? Are you good?
No, I just enjoyed it. Thank God. Because I hadn't slept as good since my husband passed, and I was just listening, put myself on the altar as she was teaching.
Everybody knows what Dr. was going through. I think she's doing a remarkable job. Let's give God an praise. But I'm going to ask Minister Keith. He is an ordained minister. We call her the first lady of SCL. But that's the way, like I said, it's a spiritual and faith-based practice. It's amazing. But us ministers are going to be touching and agreeing. If anybody needs prayer, please come up. And he's going to lead us in a closing prayer. And I think each lady got a bag. She got a gift bag. Her card is in there. And I'm bound by law and my job. If I see you, if you do make an appointment, I don't know you when you come through there. It's like, hello? I don't know you. We cannot talk about anything. I treat you and say, how are you doing? I don't know you. And that's just the way we're bound. That's a good secret. You have to keep it that way. But I mean, it's totally confidential. If you don't want to work for me, she'll arrange you to deal with me to keep to make the appointment. Because I will not look at you any crazy. I'm not promoting your business. I'm who I am, and I'm not. But I'm just telling you that, sometimes you have to get beyond it. Everybody doesn't know Dr. Emma has a counseling degree. She's a licensed counselor in Ticklesville, but she did it. We didn't know she had gone to school for it. And she did it. So, amen. At her age, you give her hand praise. Amen. It's amazing, I'm telling you. That was a secret that she didn't tell us until it was done. She's got her license. So, and she's a counselor. But she tells people, you need to get some help. I mean, she has said that. Some things going on. You need to get some help. And you may need something to help you along the way. So, again, you need extra sources. You use that insurance. Pay your deductible, your co-payment, and it can work out. So I'm going to give Minister Keith the mic here. We're just going to be agreeing. You need to come up here, have hands laid on you. The oil, we got that. And we are dismissed.
You want to get your mind and spirit in a place of healing. This is a holy ground. This is a righteous place. This is a place where God can deliver. Father in heaven, we honor you, God. God, we thank you for who you are in our lives. God, you've been ministering to us, God, in a very practical, very real kind of way this evening. God, we've learned about different things, God, that we may encounter, God, as it feels like we are impossible. God, sometimes as a woman, God, they may feel like I don't have enough time, I don't have enough energy, God, I don't have enough strength. God, they may not be getting the support, God, from the husband or from the friends, God. They may not feel like they got hope, God, with the children. God, sometimes they've been praying for that son or that daughter, God, but they just might seem a little wayward. God, they might not feel like the prayers have been working. God, you know, they may feel like the woman with the issue of blood year after year, day after day, minute after minute. God, sometimes it's a minute fight. God, I know what it's like, God, to feel like I can't sleep at night. I know the doctor talked about it. That's right, I've been taking the herbal medications, the melatonin, God. I've been doing all these things to get sleep. God, I know the word says if I keep my mind staying on you, you'll give me perfect sleep, perfect slumber. But God, in the name of Jesus, God, there's a lady here today that needs a touch. Yes. God, she needs a touch like the woman with the issue of blood. God, she wants to touch you. God, she wants to feel your presence. Hallelujah. So if you're that woman and you need a touch from heaven, I pray you come down to the altar. You know your situation. You may be coming in tonight at this altar for your job. You're not where you want to be. That's right, you've got that degree. You've been studying, you've been praying for many, many years, and you've got the opportunity, but there's no success in your own mind. You look back and you're coming up on your 10-year, 15, 20-year reunions. You're seeing other people moving on, but you feel stuck. You feel like you're in a rut, but there's deliverance. Yes, Jesus. There's hope. Oh, Father, we love you, God. God, for that woman that wants her seed, God, to be loose. Yes. She wants to be set free. Hallelujah. God, in the name of Jesus, God, there's a Paniah that's out there. There's torment in the handlers in the room tonight. God, there's a woman in the house that wants a child to give you glory. Yes. God, Hannah said, I want to give this child back to you. Yes. But before I can give it back, God, I need you right now. Because, God, I've got the Paniahs out there that's been tormenting me, God. They've been saying they got this child and that child, and my child is doing this at school, and this person is getting that success. But, oh, Father, right now, hallelujah, for that sister that's saying, God, I need an overflow in my life. Yes. God, we heard the apostle talk about having an overflow. Yes. So, Father, right now, for the woman, God, that's seeking your presence, God, in her womb. Oh, God, there may be fibroids that may be distracted from that. God, you can lose fibroids. Yes. Oh, God, you can lose that. God, there's a lady in the house that God that wants to have a seed, God, that can come forth. Yes. She wants to celebrate. Yes. Oh, God, we know. Yes. So, Father, right now, fill all the sisters, God, that's in the room. Yes. God, T.D. Jakes talks about, woman, thou art loose. Yes. Oh, God, the woman that's in the house right now, if you need to be loosed, come down to this house. If you need a loose, if you need God to just manifest himself by just a touch. Oh, sometimes we need to have a touch. So God, we love you. God, we thank you. We thank you for the word. We thank you for the spirit. God, we thank you for the leadership of this church. God, as honorable men and women, God, as they fight the enemy, they will come against them. But God, you can give deliverance. Yes. God, so again, I pray for my sister, God, HT Lady and Pastor Howard, that God, they continuously walk in authority and victory. God, Apostle, God, she's already set forth, God, the vision for this church. And so, God, we pray that you will continuously bless them. God, we pray a special head of protection over the head of this house. Yes. God, over their children, God. For their seed, that no weapon formed against them shall prosper. Oh, God, we love you. God, we're going to walk out of this place. We're going to have praise on our lips. We're going to walk out of here and say, thank you for deliverance. Thank you for peace. We love you, oh God. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.